I saw people making money. I'm like, whoa, this kind of money. I can end up getting like a 25 years for killing somebody or something. You get me? Or I can end up getting killed myself, you know what I'm saying?
You are absolutely effing joking me. I'm not putting all these guys in one room. They will kill each other.
All right, yeah.
Because no one can really tell a man to change his life unless he's willing to change, you know what I'm saying? That's what I believe in.
Change is possible if you want it, and there will be some light after the darkness.
Prince, welcome to the Hope in Hell podcast. We're here. So tell us about it. Where did it all start for you? Where did you grow up?
Oh, okay, I grew up in Africa, like Zimbabwe. It was it's a different kind of area, you know. I grew up there. Obviously, my parents, like my mom and my dad, both left me to come to England, and I was living there with my auntie.
How old were you then?
I was like 2. I think they left me when I was like 2, 3. I don't even remember though, but yeah.
So what did they want to come and make a better life somewhere with the idea of you following on later on, or?
Yes, that was the idea. Obviously, obviously, from my knowledge, I mean, for what they told me they're gonna come here, and for us to have a better life. And yeah.
When was it that when and how did you end up here?
Obviously, when I was living with my auntie for like 11 years and that. She passed away with HIV.
Right.
I mean, so obviously I didn't have no one to look after me. So my dad arranged something for me to come over to stay with him. So obviously I came over, staying with my dad and my stepmom. Yeah.
And where was that? Sorry, where did you come to in the UK?
Bedford.
Yeah,
Bedford, yeah. I came here, went to Bedford, was living with my dad and my stepmom and my 2 little siblings, and yeah.
How difficult was it, the transition from Africa, obviously coming to England and stuff must have been huge, you know, that change?
I can't lie, it was huge though, you know, like, it's like a different culture, you know? You get me? Africa is just different from England, from certain things and all that, you know?
What were the things that stood out to you the most that were different? What were the biggest culture shocks?
Oh, like, you know how like, kids when they're being naughty in school and that, we used to get beaten up by the teachers, you get me? But here, like, you just get detentions, and I thought to myself, what? That is luxury, you know what I mean?
It's an easy stretch.
Yeah. But yeah.
Today's episode is brought to you in association with Practice Plus Group, providing quality healthcare in secure settings.
So we're in Bedford.
Yeah.
What's the young prince doing in Bedford then? How did you fill your time?
And obviously, when I was living in Bedford, I was living with my stepmom and my dad and my 2 little siblings, as I said. It was good, but obviously, bear in mind, I didn't grow up with my parents, you see.
Yeah.
So we didn't have like that relationship, that bond, you know? So, like, me and my dad were just trying to get me bond up and that, but it just didn't pan out like that, you know?
Did you? So you didn't see eye to eye?
No. Don't get it twisted. Me and him were good. Again, we were good on that. But like, it came to a point on that when I was living in the house with my own dad and my stepmom and that, like, she was quite abusive a little bit or something. You know, she was quite.
Right.
Yeah.
But did she put you down? Was she sort of verbally?
Yeah, like, literally, she actually pull me down sometimes, you know? Yeah. Literally. And sometimes, and like, I used to go sleep hungry, and yeah.
Right.
She used to cook for like other kids and that, and I would just be there, and these kids, they're my little brothers and sisters, they're eating, and I'm just there. But yeah.
So she singled you out?
Yeah, she singled me out because I wasn't a child, you know what I mean? But
right.
I even tried to explain to my father about this, but man, he just brushed it off like it was nothing. You get me? Like, oh, like, listen, you get me? These are relationships, whatever. But I just thought, like, whoa, you're supposed to be my own dad, you get me?
Yeah.
This is not love, you get me? I didn't feel loved, you get me? Like, imagine my own father is not trying to pick my side, he's not trying to, but yeah.
So what happens next then for you? So how long did you hang around in Bedford? How long did you live with your father for?
I went to school. There, like, you know, from like year 8 to like year 11. I mean, I tried to go to a college and I got kicked out, but I thought about staying in the house, but I could not stay with the situation in the house.
Yeah.
Because it was just a bit too much for me. You get me? I just thought, man, if my own father's not trying to, you get me? I just didn't feel love. So obviously I just thought to myself, let me go live with my own mom. You get me? So yeah, I went to live with my mom.
What was that like when you lived with your mom?
I went to live with my mom, and she was with her partner, my stepdad. And I don't know, I remember I didn't grow up with my parents, you get me? I just did not feel that love in the house, you get me? Like, I just felt like she was just not on my side, you get me? Like, there's been like certain moments when I used to speak about, like, you know what I mean? her, my stepdad, and I don't know, but yeah.
Difficult. It's really difficult, isn't it? That this notion of growing up with your parents as strangers almost, and then having to come and live with some strangers.
Of course. I feel like they were strangers. Like, literally, I feel like I was with my parents, but they're strangers. They're just strangers to me. You get me? They were strangers back then, you get me? But yeah.
So where did you find your crowd then? When you go and we all need that sort of reassurance that we're doing good things, that we're worth things. Where did you get that from?
Obviously, I had a couple of friends, you get me? But I met one of my brethren and you get me? He's like, oh, bro, listen, you want to make some money? I'm like, what, bro? I'm cool right now, you get me? It's like, nah, I slide through. I went to see him and we met a couple of guys and you get me? Like some trap house, whatever, you know? Cool.
Can you explain what a trap house is, just for the people who don't understand the terminology?
Man, a trap house is like where they sell drugs, in there, where there's fiends and all that stuff, you know what I mean? So yeah, I went to a trap house, you got me? And obviously I just left my mom's house, you get me? I just told my mom I'll be back. I just left, you get me? Cool. I went to a trap house, whatever, you get me? I saw people making money. I'm like, whoa, this kind of money. You get me? Like, you get me? They were making a lot of money, you get me? I thought to myself, God damn, I need some of that money, you get me? So obviously at home already the situation bad, you get me? But these people, they welcome you like open hands, you know what I mean? Like proper love and everything. So yeah, that's when I started selling.
So you found, it sounds odd, but you found a bit of the love and the care that you weren't getting?
Exactly. You get me? The young me found like the love and care, you get me? Which I thought for me it was the love and care, but yeah.
Felt like family.
I felt like family, the closeness and everything and the bond,
Yeah. So, all right, so there must have been a while when everything was A-okay. You were living the life. You had the money, you had the shoes, you had everything you wanted. Tell us about that.
And it was just, it was good, you get me? While it lasted, you get me? Of course, you get me having the money, having the shoes, whatever. But of course, there's many things that comes with this life, you get me? There's violence, there's whatever, you get me? So I started seeing wickedness, like pure wickedness, you get me? Like stabbings. Yeah, it was bad.
When did you, and I want to choose my words carefully, when did you feel you started to pay the price for that life you were living?
Obviously, I was living the life, of course, everything was sweet, don't get it twisted, selling drugs, whatever. But, you get me, there's pros and cons, you know what I mean? Cons more, but obviously, I started catching cases, I had to walk around with a knife to protect my life, like, cause, it gets dangerous outside, you see.
Yeah.
So I started walking around with knives and everything, and there's been occasions and that where, cause I went to prison for it where I had to defend my life once or twice,
So what happened there, Prince, if you don't mind talking about that?
Obviously, someone got hurt with a knife and yeah.
And did you get a sentence for that?
Of course, yeah. But obviously, I caught a lot of cases, you get me, during a period of like a year, like straight.
With regard to arrests and stuff, so you've obviously left the home, there was no love, you found this connection with other people who were obviously in this trap house and breaking the law and stuff.
Yeah.
When did you first start getting arrested and stuff, and kind of what was it for? How did that look?
What do you mean, when did I say?
Well, so I can say I first got arrested when I was 11 years of age.
Okay.
And I was stealing copper for scrap.
Okay.
And that was the first arrest. And from there was multiple arrests, catching cases as you would say.
Yeah.
And those cases steadily got more serious because I was grown up and I was in the life.
That's true.
And things started to escalate. And the more that you do it, the more it seems normal. People are getting hurt and you're kind of desensitized, even though, as you quite rightly said, there is a fear within
of course.
That you can never show because you can't show any kind of weakness on the street.
Of course. Yeah, but obviously my first case and the first case I ever caught was a stabbing. Yeah, it was quite heavy, but yeah, it was a stabbing.
It's quite a big deal for the first one.
Yeah.
Was there any point there when you thought, oh, I've messed up here, or was it just part of the routine by then? That's just expected business. It's an issue. It's gonna happen.
By that time, I just felt like I was just locked in. You see, you get me? Like we just, you get me, brothers, whatever. You get me? And yeah, man, it was just too late for me. Like I felt, you get me?
Yeah.
And I just continued doing what I does. But I was a missing person as well during that period of time. Because you see, when I left my mom's house, I forgot to inform and I didn't come back. I never came back. So yeah, I was a missing person.
Right. So you were being looked for as well?
Yeah, literally.
So Tell us about your first sentence. What was that then?
The first time I went in prison.
Yeah.
Like the smell was horrid.
Yeah.
I mean, it was mad stuff, you know. Oh my God, you get me? I walked in and they closed the door behind me. I was like, oh my God, this is my life now. You get me? You know, you just feel down and you get me? And just, it's not a nice feeling.
How long was that sentence?
I was 7 years.
7 years?
Yeah, 7 years to 3.5.
Wow.
Yeah. And the stuff that happened on the street, obviously, you make enemies.
Of course.
You know, people an enemy of you, and quite often that will follow you into the prison system.
Of course.
Where violence can happen, and so, you know.
Yeah, no, of course. Like you see the stuff and that happen on the street sometimes, and I met a couple of people, and you know, I go into a lot of fights in prison, you know.
Right.
And yeah, a lot of things escalated in prison, and yeah, it was.
So you know, so the best form of defense is possibly attack. Is that what you're saying? You get into prison, you've got to front up. You've got to, you've got to prove something straight away.
At least you have to hold your own, man. You get me? Like it's like, you have to at least you hold your own, or else you get bullied for the rest of your prison sentence. You don't want that. You get me? But I'm not saying I'm promoting violence. You know what I'm saying? I ain't promoting violence, but you see, prison is just like a different kettle of fish. You get me? If you let someone disrespect you, you let them go on about it, someone else gonna disrespect you, and this person gonna disrespect you, and you're just gonna have a miserable time. You get me?
Yeah.
And yeah.
How'd you cope with that? Because you know, it's you know, as we were saying earlier on, we're all human beings, right?
Of course.
We all experience fear, but on a daily basis, having to push that down, that fear, put it somewhere else, and put this front on. How do you cope with that?
I don't know. How did you cope with
it?
man?
For me, you're in that life and you do feel fear, and some of the experiences before you even got involved in crime, you're being exposed to fear, so you desensitize. You're with a group of people who are driving you on. You're all brothers. Yeah, you know, it's ride or die.
Literally,
you know, that's what it is. You know, you're out there with one another, and you're conditioned by other people and by the street and yourself to become violent within an instant, within a second. If you have to react violently to a situation, then you will, and you want to cause maximum damage as quickly as possible to send a message. Of course, this isn't going to happen. I'm not going to be disrespected. I think that for me encapsulates that kind of situation. Yeah. And literally, if they do come on the street or in prison, they will try and kill you. Of course. No joke. You end up with a kind of animal cunning. You know, you know, your senses are heightened. You're hyper vigilant. You look for the right time. You know, if it's put on you, you'll have to fight in the moment. Of course. If it isn't, two things you don't want to happen is you don't want to be caught for committing the act of violence, because that's more prison or punishment within the prison. And you know, you want to do the business. That's where your mindset is. You want to hurt this person or these people. So you'll wait, very Machiavellian style, or the art of war. You know, you'll pick the right time to strike and do the business. Literally. And that's it. You know, that's how I would have done it and did do it.
Is it possible for somebody to go in and avoid that? Is that possible? Can somebody keep their head down, stay out the way? Is it doable? Does it depend on the person, what they've done, who they are?
It depends though, but you know, it's jail. There's still gonna be always someone who's gonna try to test you. You get me? Yeah. Of course, there's always that one person, you know, that's gonna try to test your patience. But you're gonna have to do what you gotta do, and just keep your head down. But
did you get any visitors? How long does it take from going in to get a visit?
I can't lie. It takes like 30 minutes to get a visit. But me personally, I never had many visitors. You get me? Cause you see all them people you call friends sometimes, they don't really show up. You know,
they don't visit on a Sunday afternoon. No.
I often say when I'm talking in the prison, you know, you're having a funeral here and you get to see who's showing up.
Exactly.
You know, who's come to the church.
That's true.
Yeah. Because if they don't come to your funeral, then they weren't your friend.
It's actually happened, Chris. A guy's got in touch after about 8 years and said, I'd love to be involved in your business. I says, mate, you weren't at the funeral, so you're not coming to the wedding. Exactly. Now things are going well. That's not happening.
Yeah. I see. Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? So, Prince, something changed.
Of course.
Do you have is there a moment, can you think back to a specific moment, or was it more of a gradual thing where you kind of went, maybe I want something different?
Like for me, like the street life for me did not make no sense to me, because I started wearing like pros and cons, and you get me. I started thinking, look, I can end up getting like a 25 years for killing somebody or something. You get me? Or I can end up getting killed myself. You know what I'm saying? It just did not make no sense, because obviously I was I was quite like an angry kid, you know, back then. You get
Yeah.
me? Yeah. So
What were you angry with, Prince?
I was just angry at the world, you know, literally angry at the world, and yeah.
And so you're having the dilemma, you're having the argument within yourself about it's maybe time to change, maybe time to choose a different path. What's the first step then? What's the first proactive thing that you can do? Because you're kind of limited with where you are. What's the first? Is it just the change of mindset?
You
Is
just
that
change
the
your
first step?
mindset. Yes, you have to change your mindset. You get me? Because no one can really tell a man to change his life unless he's willing to change. You know what I'm saying? That's what I believe in. But yeah.
So Gary pitches up. What happened there then? How did you meet Prince? You tell me.
Obviously, I was doing some, you know what, kind of when I was in prison, get me, working on myself. I met Gary and get me, he was talking sense to me, get me, like in prison, and I used to come and we used to be speaking and everything. And yeah, like the things he was saying to me was making a lot of sense in my head. And I thought, this man's got some brain on him. He's making a lot of sense to me, you know.
It was, I saw him, you know, this sounds like a romantic novel across the crowded exercise yard, you know. And
Your eyes met across the room.
It was pretty much like that. And what had happened was people had been shipped into Diebold from all over the country and, you know, for really serious offences. And the nature of the prison changed and the security level changed and stuff. So people shipped from London, Birmingham, Manchester, you know, literally from all over to the far-flung area of County Durham. So I saw Prince across the exercise yard. There'd been some, you know, overtures made to me to do some work with people from around the country. And the trick was bringing people from around the country who'd been involved in that life and that culture and getting them together in the room. And the head of security said to myself and Tom Batty, my colleague who you've met, you are absolutely effing joking me. I'm not putting all these guys in one room. They will kill each other.
All right, yeah.
So they took a chance and the governor took a chance. And I was very fortunate that, you know, Prince led the way on that. And we started to do some really good work. You know, even down to we had kind of record producers interested to come in and they want to speak about that. Not in an exploitive way, because I would never do that. But, you know, and the work was happening and it was
in a
rolling.
focus kind of way to focus.
And hear about people's experiences and let them have a voice and to feel empowered, and real talk about real change. And you've got to show someone another way. Anyway, to cut a long story short, that got cut short because he got shipped out, you know, and then COVID hit.
Right.
And then after that, you know, we kind of we've always kept in touch. And I've always been really interested in who he is, where he's been, but more than that, who he can be and what he can do. And that's the kind of next stage that we're in now.
So what was the point then, Prince, where I suppose what I want to say is, when did you start to feel good about yourself? Because there must have been a transition between you not particularly liking what you'd become and aiming to become somebody else. Can you remember a moment when you started to think, do you know what, I quite like this guy?
Obviously, you see, when I was in jail, I used to do like a lot. I used to read a lot of books and that, you know, and they helped me like know about myself and all of that stuff. You get me? And I started learning a lot of stuff about myself, you know, like, and I just thought to myself, I gotta change my life as well and all of that, and I just moved up like that.
And so you two met, and then when did you start working together again once Prince was released?
So he was kind of released in the community. We kept in touch, and then obviously opportunity has knocked for me across the prison system. And immediately I've said this to him, you know, I've said this to him again today, I've met some really inspirational people in prison and some really clever people. And he's just a standout guy, you know, really charismatic, really spiritual, and really cares about other people. And despite what he's been through himself and what he's put other people through, just like me, he wanted to make a difference to his own life and change that of other people. So he's interviewed for us, and he's going to be coming on with a company doing consultancy work across the prison system and a number of other things. We're looking at, you know, getting them into schools and really speaking the truth, because that's what's needed, isn't it?
Yeah.
And to connect with people and to stop people going down that road he's been down and I've been down, you know. So that's where we're at now.
That's where we are, man. We need to just try to stop that. You see, like the knife crime is bad nowadays, you know. If we can like help young kids and from school as well, it would be good as well. You get me? That's what I was talking to Gary about as well. You get me? Yeah,
that's right. So what are your plans for the future then, Prince? What does life look like?
Me, obviously, right now, I'm gonna get something sorted out. I got a little something that needs to get sorted out. But after that, I'm gonna start working with Gary, and try to help people and, like, you know, change their lives and that. You get me? That's my passion to do that. And yeah.
I was actually in Depot working yesterday, and I said to a bunch of guys, look, you know, it's for real. We've got people working in our provision who've been in prison, you know, when I was doing my work in there. And I said, I've got, you know, Prince coming tomorrow to do a podcast. And the officer went, Prince? You know, but it's real. And then he's going to be coming back into Depot with me. Yeah. You know, just to show people that rehabilitation and recovery is real. Yeah. And change is possible if you want it, you know, and you get the right support. I think it's powerful stuff.
Are you ready, Prince, for people to doubt you?
Man, people have been doubting me all my life, but I always prove them wrong every time, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that, I mean, has that happened to you? Have you, you know, are the whispers? Because of course you working with Tom, former prison officer, I'm sure that raised a few eyebrows.
I stayed in my local area, and all of the guys who didn't want to fight me when I was an active criminal all of a sudden wanted to fight.
Right.
Because I'd changed, you know, and being called a police informer, you know, I won the prison contracts, but I don't care what anybody thinks about me, except my loved ones and people I respect.
Of course.
I can't change what they think. I changed how I thought. And I start believing in me, and I know who I am and what I'm about, and the great work that I do and the company does. So I believe in me, and hopefully, you know, that cascades outwards, and other people start kind of believing in themselves as well.
Exactly.
So that's my mission now.
So a piece of advice for anybody who would be in your situation or in your situation, say somebody's about to be sentenced, you know, what would you say to them? How are they now going to cope? What's the plan for them?
I mean, you know, all depending on length of sentence. I've worked with people doing natural life, and I've said to them, the only thing left for you is to help other people within the prison system, because you know your freedom's gone now. And if you are going into prison, you know, keep your head down.
Of course.
You know, practical advice. Keep your head down, borrow nothing, don't take drugs, don't get involved in gambling, you know, and avoid any kind of situation where you're going to be kind of exploited and manipulated if you can, which is very difficult. The other thing is that, you know, I'm looking at the guy and I'm doing it, and I know thousands of people who've done it, and I know all the work you've done in recovery and stuff. Change is possible if you want it, and there will be some light after the darkness. That's all I can say.
And what's been the hardest part of change for you?
You know, people doubting you, but it's okay. We move past that, and you know, it's just hard sometimes. You know, it was hard before, and like to think like, oh, I can just go and make quick money right now. You get me? Yeah. But I'm patient. I learn patience, and yeah.
Temptation.
Yeah, temptation to just make a quick buck and you know, and just do your thing and that. But now I'm patient now, man. Yeah. There's another way to life than just selling drugs. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming in to talk to us, Prince. Thanks very much, Gary.
Thank you.
Thank you, man.
Thanks.